analyst desk there. We'll see what changes come into effect here for the second game as we are now into Champ Select. Chiefs going to ban Gangplank and Braum to start things off, so keeping things relatively similar. Kalista, Lulu banned for Sin, of course. And do not forget, it's not a bug. These teams are going to be on the same side of the rift. Blue for Chiefs, red for Sin the entire series long, because that's the sides they wanted. Trundle ban there for Chiefs, Poppy ban for Sin, and Fruscuans flailing wildly. I know you guys can't see, but
they're the exact same bans that we had in the game. Effectively, this could be the exact same draft phase. Again, these teams will never change sides. So if we see Alistar Gragas here, the question now is, do Sin, okay, there's an adaptation. Do Sin have a plan? There we go. Okay.
All right.
Answered
so
for
just
me.
to recap, Siva first pick for Chiefs. Exactly what we expect from the Chiefs. I can't imagine
there was flailing because I was like, but you didn't even ban any of the problem champions.
Well, they take them away instead. Azir and Kindred are the selections for Sin, it seems like. So we'll see what the Chiefs answer back with. Once again, teams drafting very quickly. So it feels like, especially with sides determined already, team, analyst, everyone's got plans here. They already know what they want to do.
And as far as I'm concerned, Azir is like the S+ version of a LeBlanc, who's like an A tier maybe. And like, not to say LeBlanc's bad, but Maokai's a direct counter. You try and go on the Azir, it's just like, take my wall. You know, get away from me.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, Nidalee is the S tier Kindred.
Yes.
So the fact that Spook's got his hand on that champion, whereas Juves is playing Kindred just to deny it.
Well, we'll see what he can do on the Kindred, of course. Very different from the Gragas. I'd be curious to see what he can put in work with. Nidalee, Alistar, though, were the picks for Chiefs, so kind of continuing the trend to deny picks away. Thresh, though, for Rogue is nice as they pick that up in their second overall rotation. And Lucian again for Cardred. Much different bottom lane this time around. You'd think they might be able to take it 2v2, so if they do look for those standard lanes, Rogue can show off some of those mechanics. He's a very good Thresh player.
That's exactly what I wanted to talk about. You know what picking Thresh says to me is that Rogue's now comfortable coming into this second game, and yeah, he's a nervous player. He's got Cardred to back him up. The air of confidence that Cardred should be able to give him will definitely help. And now that you've got the first game jitters out, straight to the best champion that he has.
Wow.
Zed and Nautilus actually going to be finished off here. So once again, we're going to have to play and see where these... No, okay, champion's actually making some sense here. But Zed into Azir. Let's just sort of reset the matchup. Very bold as there's the Echo out of Sin.
So we saw Echo yesterday go into the top lane, because we call it the pseudo Poppy.
It is. Poor man's Poppy.
Yeah, Bruiser. Although, is he going to swap it? Are we going to have... There we go.
No, it's okay.
We already had a Maokai support. I didn't know how many different directions we were going. He's Bruiser. He gets relatively tanky. He has great chase potential, good mobility. And so just think of that. I can't ever get away from Poppy. Well, you can never get away from Echo either.
Yeah, absolutely. Sticky, and that's the best way to describe him. Sin's composition as well. Very strong 5-man. There's zone controls as well. So Lambs of Spite able to save people in the backline. Cardred as well being a low-ranged AD carry. Sitting with Kindred, actually being able to just blow out bullets everywhere that isn't inside it. Should be very effective in saying that. Chiefs, they've got the Zed into the Azir as well. Laning phase is a bit difficult at 6.
The scary thing, though, is that the Chiefs have a huge ability to split push. Anytime Zed comes into a composition, it automatically opens up the 1-3-1.
Can you split push into Echo who stacks armor?
If he stacks armor and he gets ahead. But I do think that there's definitely a lot more room on Sin's composition to be abused by a split pusher than Chief's composition in game 1, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. To me, I just look at Zed and say he's not going to be split pushing this game. I think plain and simple, Echo just uses the R key if you use yours. And there's actual complete diffusal of split pushing.
Yep. Echo counters assassins typically.
Yes, exactly. So there's actually no necessity for Chiefs to want to split push. I actually think they will just either 1-3-1 or they'll 5-man.
All right, so the other half of this, we'll get into it in a second. Here are team comps here for game number 2. Don't forget, of course, those hashtags. Hashtag CHF win for the Chiefs. Hashtag Sin win if you think they can answer back for a game 2 and make things real interesting in this best of 5. And, of course, that hashtag IamOPL for all your general conversational needs out there in the Twitterverse. We've loved featuring a lot of your tweets on air. Please keep them coming. Use those hashtags. Get the teams back trending to the top of Twitter where they belong. But you can see both teams looking very focused as they move into game number 2. And here we are out onto Summoner's Rift.
Yeah, we've made it onto the second game, Pastry Time, and a lot of changes this time around. So with change comes questions. And the first question is, how will Juves and Rymeister go as what is... I'm going to define the ultimate BM, and that is picking what the enemy played beforehand and trying to win with it.
Well, they didn't win game 1.
Even
so
if it's out of necessity.
It's usually better when you win game 1 and style on them with their comp, but...
Rymeister's styling on Swiffer right
still definitely a strong pick here for Sin.
Pretty sick dance battle going on. Yeah, Swiffer's like, you
don't
sure miss if you don't try.
I'm pretty sure that Q is intentionally back. They're having a bit of fun. Super queuing the Sand Soldier. Unfortunately, that one doesn't work. Spook's actually here as well, but I think started trap. So probably not going to chuck a cheeky spear. Right, just going to hang back. Looks like these lane assignments haven't quite been sorted for Sin in their side lanes, though, because everyone's grouped around mid.
Something I want to touch on is Spook's performance last game, which was phenomenal on the Kindred. I really like seeing him on the Nidalee. I want to see him be just as aggressive as he was. I've actually been very critical of Spooks. Not that I don't think he's a good jungler. He's a phenomenal jungler. I've been very vocal that I think Carbon is the best jungler in the OPL, though. And the thing is Spooks is just a little bit too conservative for me most of the time. His laners usually win, so there's no reason to take high risk, high reward.
Surprise!
Your jungle invade has been foiled, Sin. Not that Raided wants to do anything. He just loses health on the crop. Nice.
Guarding their Gromp, I suppose, but successful. Oh, it does mean we have a 2v2 in the top side of the map, so we are going to get those standard lanes. We'll see if Kadra and Rogue can play into what should be the more aggressive bottom lane, but never count out Radiant and EGM, especially at level 2.
You know what's more aggressive in bottom lane is Rogue's Keystone Masteries. Without fail.
Oh, yes.
He goes Thunderlord's Decree on Thresh, and he has Bond of Stone when he plays Alistar. He's a very unique support, but it's a lot of damage, and it means the 2v2 effectively gives extra trading.
It's effectively prioritizing his trading ability versus supplying his team.
Yeah.
Whoa. Things getting rough as Swiffer in that mid lane, though. I do like Fervor versus Warlord's Bloodlust in that 2v2 as well, so you can see the thought process of Sin's bottom lane. You can see Rai has burnt through a couple of potions already here for Swiffer. Azir, just such a good champion in so many different ways. Let's see if Rymeister can really stick it to Swiffer, who's on a melee champion. You get the theory of Zed into Azir, but it's going to be a rough few first levels.
It's always rough for Zed.
Yeah, 6 is basically when Zed's like, I actually have kill threat now. You be careful. Realistically, you're looking at first buys, I would say, for Swiffer until things change, or if the Nidalee, who's actually right now top lane, can get something done mid.
EGM lining something up. There's the flash in. Finds Cardred there. Oh, good great hook though for Rogue, but Cardred's still a little too far out. Does have the flash, does have the heal, but he can't get anywhere good. First blood does go to Nidalee.
Yeah, early and massive first blood given to Spooks once again, who can use that advantage around the map. I think we already touched on the Keystone Masteries. Chiefs are looking to sustain in their lane with what they have, so actually putting that onto Nidalee was massive and very smart from these guys. Rogue was level 2, didn't have Lantern. Easy first kill.
Yeah, and just piggybacking off the back of that, typically she itemizes into the jungle item to place wards, so like you said, it directly impacts her other lanes as we now see Spooks walking through the mid lane.
Good visit there from Spooks. Again, making sure Rymeister knows that I am around you. I can potentially pressure you. You can see the Carbon actually going to weigh in on the match. Kindred versus Nidalee. Are they trying to have fun out there? Amateurs. Hashtag I am OPL. Tim, of course, waiting in that grand final. So I'm sure he's kicking back and watching eagerly this particular semi-final.
He always has the greatest Twitter profile pics.
Oh, yeah.
When he was just the tree, though, I loved the tree.
Spot on.
Bring back the tree. Free the tree. There you go. That's a new hashtag you guys can use.
That's the right word, though, this time around, Carbon. I think they are definitely still having fun, just in their own way, because it's kill champs, not camps. I know that's your strategy, Carbon, that you've adopted from Juice, but these guys like camps. Good
shadow from Swiffer there in the mid lane, trying to play around Rymeister a little bit right. Has enough soldiers to put up and can be very annoying. Swiffer's actually out of potions, so I can't imagine he's going to stay too much longer unless Spooks does pop his head back into the lane again, which it looks like he's going to try and do.
I think this will be his last wave, actually.
Problem bottom lane potentially.
He's running
knock him up, but here's Rogue as well. Spooks also down in to try and get something happening. Chippy's low. Speed does land. They're going to go in for it as Rady is able to get that last auto and take the kill. Tower dive still available. They're going to zone Sin off this Rogue. Oh no. Good flash though out of that headbutt. Spooks can't chase. The Chiefs are looking to take this out.
Sin try and disengage, but Chippies is already dead. And the Chiefs, they accelerate the map further as pressure mid.
Yeah, Rymeister looking for it. Good flash there from Swiffer. Rymeister didn't feel like he could dive after already using his summoner.
Actually, I think Rymeister expected that he had Ignite almost as a reactive summoner spell usage there. Ignite probably was the kill.
Well, exhaust this time, so no dice. Swiffer actually going to get his back in, but we'll lose some pressure on this turret. Goes back and gets himself that serrated Dirk. So it looks like Ghostblade first for Zed. Pretty standard. But he does have a pink ward as well. Rymeister now going to complete his first back. And we'll see what he wants to do with his early itemization. How aggressive is he feeling?
Something that I want to touch on, though, I know we're talking about itemization, but we're kind of in the exact same scenario that we were the first game. First blood going over to Spooks, who's going to impact the map with that. And then likewise, the Chiefs get a free tower advantage. And there's no response from Sen.
Just a good dive, really. And good pressure there from the jungler. To group up and take that bottom tower, which did have a boatload of CS denied away from it.
That was weird for Juice.
Radio's now going to go back. Yeah, Juice ducking into the jungle. Now top side, but I think there might have been a ward in Chief's jungle. Not
So
too
this
sure.
is a case of better late than never, again, from Sin. They've actually grouped up for that top lane turret as 4, which is why Juves is hanging around. But he is falling very far behind, even in experience. Spooks has been level 5 for quite some time. No exhaust for Rymeister.
Yes, Swiffer actually going to go in for it. Good damage there from the Death Mark. The Ignite's been used as well. Swiffer needs a little bit more damage, but almost goes down on the other end. Maybe going to force the Azir out here. Double Doran's really helping, especially with that cloth armor as well.
Yeah, it's actually very smart itemization from Rymeister. The second you use your exhaust against the Zed, you realize that you're not in a position to fight him. Swiffer on the flip side, knowing that he can fight, tries to get it done against a level down Azir, but not to be.
Well, Invade repelled in the top side as well, as that tower take did not go well for Sin in top side. Spooks and Juves are having a battle over the Raptor. Juves going to win this time around, but a ward in there is going to bust that passive immediately. He will clear it. You can see Ejim playing nice and aggressive, doesn't quite have his flash back up yet, but the Chiefs taking even more turrets.
And it doesn't necessarily
Juves
matter. They're skirmishing. I was going to say, it doesn't necessarily matter that he lost the Raptors because he was able to zone off Kindred, but Juve did get in front of Spooks. Now we have this weird pincer.
Ooh, Spooks actually a little bit of an aggressive flank here. Rogue going to maybe try and get the play happening for the Chiefs into defense. Spooks will live this time and now group back with the team. Going to try and take this turret. Again, Sin started this push in topside, but they might end it with another outer turret dead.
Yeah, and that's the big issue is Sin show aggression. Oh,
good hook there. Chippy's no ulti, no mana, no hope there as Radier. He's able to take him out. That's the easy double there for Siva. A turret and a champion.
And Sin, once again in this early game, it actually breaks towards mid after a slow start. And once the rotation is made, honestly, Chiefs just start to look so much more in control. Sin implode.
And we see the priority of getting Ejim on a champion like Alistar. Time after time again, hitting these amazing pulverizes.
Well, good pressure there from Chiefs, but not able to quite take that tier 2 turret out. We'll see what Sin want to do now.
Rift Herald.
Rift Herald is an option here for Chiefs. They are going to recall, though.
They can reset map, and they can either look towards Dragon or they can look towards Rift Herald. It kind of depends on how they're feeling around the mid lane, if they want to try to apply that into the mid lane. Diving Azir sometimes can be very scary. But if you have an Alistar...
as well, though, to be fair. So if anyone's nearby, it's pretty hard to dive right. I think Dragon is the obvious approach. I think it's what they should go towards.
Lure them into a 5v5 or take the objective for free.
And then get a pick and then go mid.
Yep.
And don't forget, deny the Kindred, because there's some juicy stacks waiting there for Juves. He doesn't quite have the Devourer online yet. Does have 2 daggers. Tracker's Knife's going to help for some extra vision around the objectives, but those 7 stacks that he could potentially pick up, and a mark with the Scuttle Crab there as well. Going to go to waste, perhaps. He's going to start on that Scuttle Crab, though. Chiefs not in a hurry just yet to do anything. And to be honest, that's going to be a pretty common look for the Chiefs in this series. They're never in a hurry. Everything's very planned and calculated out.
No, they don't really need to be in a hurry. That's the thing. They know that they've got the late game. Sin are the ones that feel the pressure on them to perform. And being out-rotated around the map is what just comes to bite them in the end. This particular draft as well, there are very few avenues where Rymeister is going to be split pushing once again. And also Azir is a good pick on Rai. It's also good to take away from Swiffer. It limits strategies that Sin have.
Well, they are going to pressure down this turret. It's just Swiffer right now with the wave clear, but does a decent job with his Shadow and Shuriken. Spook's also on the other side. Going to look in for a spear, but doesn't connect it. Swiffer a little low on health, but Sin not hard committing really to that push. The rest of the Chiefs here to respond. And now the counter push starts.
Now they've actually got knowledge of where Swiper is here, Sin, so they've rotated upwards, which also means the Chiefs know where they are, which is why they randomly started to stance towards that mid lane. Pressure them, bring them back to the turret, and the second the Chiefs see 3 or 4 people from Sin at the turret, they can start the Dragon up, even just start it now.
Yeah, and that's the big thing, right? You're also creating space on the bottom side to force someone to respond. Makes this so easy to take. But again, the question, do they then deep invade and place down vision, or do they immediately run into the mid lane, and can Sin rotate quickly enough to stave them off?
Well, Chiefs, 4-man strong, take that Dragon out very easily. That's the first one for themselves here in this particular game. Nice and early at the 10-minute mark. Looks like Recall's coming in, though. Swiffer going to have to defend on his own, but the rest of Sin not really around. And looks like they are going to recall. Items not quite finished yet for the Siva.
Got him.
Oh, I think Raid is waiting for gold. No, he's hanging out. Having some fun.
No, they're going top to respond to chippies.
Yeah, I feel like at this stage with the item advantage that they'll start to get, and that's all they're really waiting for is completed items, and then they are effectively ahead. Just be damage control. Stop Sin from getting anything. Try and maintain the lead that they have, and then the relative lead that you gain, by having completed items is massive, as Chippies is in trouble.
Adorable by Spooks here, and it's actually a 3-man gank. The spear wall lands, CC into the wall there. Ulti maybe not going to save Chippies this time. He probably has to burn it soon, but he's just going to get chased down here. Raider's going to flash for it. Chippies will flash away, but Raider's still there. A good slow is great, but the Boomerang Blade's better, as that's a kill now in bottom side. Swiper 2v1ing Rogue and Cardred. Does hit the exhaust, but Swiper pretty much won the end of that trade.
Yeah, Swiper actually just won a 1v2, whereas on the flip side, Chippies is losing that particular trade. And once again, this is just lane assignment. This is decision making. Everything that the Chiefs are doing is in control of this game.
I feel like they should. I feel like they need to rotate mid. I'm like watching where the Chiefs are going on the map right now, as we're going to see the replay here, and just the power of Nautilus.
But look at levels. Swiper's level 8.
4 to 6.
Rogue and Cardred are 2 levels ahead collectively,
Yep.
which is not enough to take him down.
Certainly not, as Radiant does get the Rift out for himself. Chiefs able to take that objective out. Recall's coming in, so no push being started just yet.
Take them, complete their itemization.
But it seems like mid lane, spin the buzz lane here for Frostgurian, so I imagine they'll look there. And Swift are now finally going to go back as well. It does have some gold to spend also.
Oh, this bottom lane, though, from Sin is just such a big concern. Already touched on the levels, but look at the level discrepancy between bot laners. Even EGM is 6.
Did he purchase a dagger as well as a crit cloak?
Yes. As in just then? Hit the
Yes.
dagger before, I think. He's had a random dagger.
Okay.
Oh, get it.
My guess
Get it,
is,
Boomerang
you know,
Blade.
some little additional pushing power.
No, I get it. I just didn't know if he like went back. He's like, I could get my ass into
Swift dropping, man, all about it as ulti pop there by Juves. The Spook tries to get aggressive right. Doesn't quite connect with the scoop there into the wall, but Spook going to get chased down and taken out as he grabs his first kill.
Yeah, Sin, once again, it hits around the 10-minute mark, and the proactivity starts to come back for them. This time around, they actually target mid with all of the outers remaining for Chiefs. Sin, you would hope they have an avenue to attack, but they can't break it. They just cannot break Chiefs.
It's the brilliance of running Sivir alongside Zed as well. The big issue is by running an assassin in the mid lane like Zed. Yes, you have wave clear, but it's not particularly safe wave clear. So if your mid laner is ever out of position or goes down, it's very easy to just run down the lane and take towers for free. Whereas if you're trying to take or siege against Sin, Rai has to be dead. But by using him in tandem with Sivir, especially how the Chiefs have now manipulated their duo lane into the mid lane, never expose yourself like that.
Swiffer does have a Ghost Blade, so Chippies might be feeling a little unsafe in the 1v1, but Iceborne Gauntlet on the way, plus that Balmy Cinder means Tanky Echo pretty safe from any sort of danger. Pressure, though, is being created. Riftchild, I think, has worn off for Radier. Oh, no, it hasn't. Still got a little bit left to go. But not going to get too much damage done. Once again, Azir really good at protecting turrets.
It's also a Zonya's rush as well from Rymeister, so he's actually not doing a whole lot of damage, doesn't have the attack speed from a Stinger. Is in fact rushing the active, and that's a very curious thing to me because, yeah, you definitely need it against a Zed. Like, it makes a lot of sense. You can even cancel a Nautilus ultimate with it if you time it well enough.
Swiffer gets discovered. Damage onto Ryder. Oh my god, he goes in onto Juves. Going to try and take him out 1v1. Juves does not have lamps to spy back. That's going to be a kill as Ejim's going to try and take out the threat. Rogue will flash himself to safety. But a huge 1v3 jungle expedition there for Swiffer.
But this is what we were talking about. If this Zed ever got ahead, the split push and the pick potential is massive, and Echo is so far behind as the dive commences.
Good hook there as well. Cardinal going to get ulted up by the Nautilus. CC not quite there to follow, but the spears are very threatening. The Chiefs going to try and take this turret down. Chippies is here to respond. Minions are running out on this front side, but Double AD here should make this turret relatively trivial to take down. Chiefs, good damage done there.
And so much sustain. Alistar and Nidalee, this should definitely be their turret. The question is, where do they go from here afterwards?
I think they just reset the map, dragon spawning in 1 minute 20 seconds, lay down some triangle vision and pick up the blue buff, and then just walk back to dragon.
Even the blue, though, it's just absolute control.
Yep.
I think there's no other way to explain it. The domination in the second game.
And it's weird too, right? Because it doesn't look very flashy. You know, they are up a decent chunk of gold, almost 5k here at 15 minutes in. But again, it's very calm, very, in some ways, standard league. They're just playing the map.
Yes.
They know that Sin, hey,
exactly
we know you
it.
want to fight us, so we're just going to, you know, not fight you unless we know we have a big enough lead. Chiefs are starting to get to that point. And Sin, at some point, have to respond with their fighting around these objectives.
It's the question about why you're fighting versus... So this is the biggest difference. And this is what's cool about the OPL as a scene right now is you have teams like Direwolves, like Legacy, who are so good at fighting and just being so mechanically oppressive. And you teams like Sin and Chiefs who try to just play the map. And it's the difference of why are we fighting and only fighting for a cause versus fighting because that's the only way you know how to win.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing. Chiefs winning as a macro style, playing the map, is actually what Sin do to win the map. So obviously, if you can actually find a lead by beating someone at their own game, then you're doing it very well.
Well, looks like Chiefs after a pretty good start to their series. Looking solid here in game 2 as Swiper could be in a spot of bother. Rymeister here, good. Ulti actually going to push him out, but Swiper now going to get slowed down. He's going to try and turn around. He has to tie up a little bit of time here, but not too tanky. No ulti. And probably going to go down here. Rymeister could get himself another kill. They are going to have to burn the exhaust. Swiper, annoying, but does finally fall.
I mean, eventually the mammoth top laner of the Chiefs goes down. It gives so much time to Chiefs on the flip side. They could opt into the Dragon. They don't want to have to go for the Dragon, though, because the turrets are the more juicy objective.
Yeah, and even if they secure this tower, they get the wave and that much more control of the bottom side of the map. So I agree. The Dragon would have been instantly free, but taking the risk versus reward of if we secure this tower, it's the free objective anyway.
And falling back now to the safer objective, which should be very trivial for Sivir and Nidalee to do. Zed, in fact, not even going to join in.
But to be fair, like, Rymeister is trying to trade, right? So they got the pick top lane. Naturally, he'll continue to push down the objective. Standard Sin, rather. Getting the Dragon doesn't give you gold, getting the tower does. So they claw back a little bit closer to even.
Yeah, still 2,500 gold behind or so.
Which isn't a lot.
Busy clearing things out. No, it's not. And again, this was very similar of game 1.
Yeah.
The goal lead actually never got massively out of control. Yeah, sure, 2K ahead the first 10-15 minutes of the game isn't bad.
To me, though, like, the big thing for Sin this time around isn't the Chippies is fed. It's the Chippies is always going to be split pushing against Swiffer, right? And he just needs to get armor and just needs to stay alive. Effectively just needs to not die. Rymeister is 2-0 on this Azir. He's now got his attack speed and his Zhonya's Hourglass. This is a scaling Azir that has the money and the resources of Sin. So whilst they're 2.5k behind, Rymeister's not. The carry is always going to hurt.
And that's the thing, Ry, not just, a big carry for the team, one of their star players, but definitely a big voice in-game as well. A lot of decisions. I think almost all of them get made by Rymeister as far as shot calling goes. He's a very smart player as well as a talented player, but this is a big test for this young captain to try and guide these guys around the roof against the Chiefs, who are so good at playing around the map.
At this moment, I feel like it's Rymeister trying to, Chippies trying to stall as long as possible for Rymeister to scale up into that late game.
Well, it's a pretty standard Sin game plan. We'll see how it goes this time around, because Ry is certainly looking threatening. Swiffer, though, keeping things nice and under control here in that bottom side. Has a Hex Drinker now, so Echo's damage not going to be too threatening.
You can tell by his pathing, though. Like, Swiffer wants to fight. You don't hug walls that aggressively unless you're looking for him to overextend. The Chiefs across the board right now are trying to catch Sin out, and that is reflected in their pink ward purchases, which are perfectly pyramided almost. Damn it, Ejim.
It's like a flying V of pink wards. I love it. Yeah, Ejim, though. Combo breaker.
The flying V strategy.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
Well, Tower now going to be assaulted as they did take the Rift Herald about 30 seconds ago. Do a bit of additional pressure from the minions they can use, but looks like wave clears there for Azir. You don't really want to be pushing the Azir lane as a general rule.
The pressure is on Chippies. Like Rusty said, if he dies here, it's disaster. But if he can stay alive, Sin should be able to stave off this assault with Azir in position.
Or not if that happens. Ry eating poke now from the Nidalee. He's got really nothing much else, but Ejim's going to make a big play for it. Lamster's Spite's going to save the Azir. Chief's trying to burn down the turret as Ejim sort of caught out in the front side, but the ulti from Ali going to keep him nice and healthy. And the Chiefs, all they wanted was the objective, and that's what they get.
The dangerous thing is always that Lamster's Spite saving them if the Chiefs get over-aggressive and dive, which is why their decision-making was perfect. Because as you said, only wanting the objectives, playing it slow and as calm as they possibly can, and making it work for them.
Yeah, I feel like if they had decided to dive and split their damage off of the tower, it would have led to disaster.
The Swiffer Chippy show does continue in that bottom lane, though. Swiffer 2 levels up still. Is definitely threatening to Chippies, but Tank Echo not too bad. As Tally now going to win. Since all the Legacy boys out on Twitter tonight, that's not a Tallywhacker Echo sad face.
No, it's not.
I mean,
It's a Chippies Echo.
that's true.
And not to take away from Chippies, Tally just had a fantastic performance on Echo. And Chippies has a role in this game, and his role in Sin drastically different to Tally's in Legacy, so not to take away from Chippies whatsoever.
No, not at all, but Tally definitely had a good set of games yesterday. I think if any player could play like Tallywhacker, they'd probably take it at this point, given his recent results. Chippies, though, doing just fine, like you said. 0-3-0, but items coming out.
40 CS
Zed's
ahead.
not too threatening, and yeah, plenty of CS up against Swiper. To be fair, both these top laners kind of okay.
Yeah.
Even Swiper, plenty of damage to do, even when he doesn't have all his tank items up. But Rymeister back to split pushing. No TP, of course. Had to take the exhaust for the lane. But if he can be threatening, especially with Juves here, this is the right sort of play. Rydo, he's going to have to push Swiffer out of the way. He's going to try and make it work. Damage is massive, and he actually gets it. 1v2 as Juves is going to chase him down. They do get the trade, but Swiffer effectively won that.
But guess who has the Zhonya's hourglass?
And didn't pop it.
Exactly right. Rymeister actually dies, I believe, in the middle of his travel on the E. Just didn't get the time to use it. And that's a misplay, plain and simple.
Well, Poke still coming here for Chiefs as they're continuing their siege. Looks like Spook stole the blue away from Sin and is now using it to throw spears at them under the turret. They'll back away, though. Looks like they've got something else in mind. But let's watch this again. Swiffer, how did he get out of this?
So credit to Rymeister and not just blowing the Zhonyas immediately, because that's what you want to do. You want to ult him towards Juves, make him use his shadows to get out to safety and then try and chase him down. The Zhonyas would have locked him down for a period of time where Rymeister needed to do damage, but he still needed to live. And there's just this fine balance between trusting Juves and trusting that he can get the kill and not dying for it yourself. It is a 1-for-1 trade. Could have been 1-for-0.
Well, it's a little trade there instead as Swiffer does go back and get himself the more of Malmortius. Actually, might have had it before, but I think that's the Hex Drinker shield carrying over. Is he still pushing?
I was just going to say the Hex popped last team fight. So.
I was wondering if the item was fresh was all, because I think the shield carries over. I'm like, did he have it before and I missed it? I don't know. It's okay. Juves, though, going to take Scuttle Crab. Everything's okay, everyone. 20 stacks, though, for Juves. Not sated just yet. A little while off, actually. Those 2 dragons Chiefs have. Certainly hurting the Kindred. Ranger also with 2 items. Static Shiv now at the ready. Going to start wave clearing with impunity. Just sort of the Civ special. Chippy's trying to make something happen here, but he's getting grabbed up. Restless in here, maybe going to try and turn things around. Spook's actually the target, but that's a good hook there onto Swiper. They'll lock him down, but Radius here now as well.
Rogue's
Ultimate pop Rogue. It definitely has to get out of there. Boomerang Blade, though, not going to come in as Chippy's going to try and lock them in the front lines. Ejim also rotating in. Sin, I'm not sure they can defend this turret, but they need to try and do something here.
And Sin need to effectively win 4v4s, because at the moment, the top laners are Zed and Azir without teleport. Very important that Chippy stays healthy and that Kadra puts in work. Well, Chiefs will run away with this.
Oh, Ejim again, though. Now Juves is the target. Pops the lamp to a spike, but Rady gets played back into the team. Very nice play there from Rogue, but Ejim is more than healthy with the ultimate. And again, lots of bloodshed under the turret, but nobody dead.
But here comes the mid laner, Zed and Azir now starting to rotate over, and Chiefs are not giving up this siege.
No, not too healthy either, so have to be careful. Good needle threaded there, but oh my god, Swiffer.
We know he'll dive, let's be honest.
There's the TP. Going to get low. Rymeister going to dive in for it. Ejim stuns him up. There he's going to go straight in over the top. The Zhonyas does find it this time, but Swiffer needs to keep moving in. Ejim, though, stunned in under the turret. As Roy gets a nice hook in onto Swiffer. Sin now going to chase down as Raid is completely in the front lines and will get shut down. Sin, answer back under the turret for 3. Maybe going to get a 4th there as Swiper gets locked down. Kadra going to swoop in for it, and all of a sudden, Sin going to turn things around.
And Sin pick up 4 massive kills, and it could not have been timed better for them. Defusing the dragon, getting easy gold in their back pocket, and potentially turning the entire game back into Sin's favor.
I'm going to have to give that entirely to Rymeister. This was so great to use the Emperor's Divide to buy time for the teleport to allow Chippies to get there, because Chiefs were going to burn that. And Swiffer goes down without burning the Death Mark. Beautiful chain CC coming out of Sen.
Yeah, and whilst it was good from Rymeister, there was still a 2-man stun from Chippies to lock down the Zed, who didn't even get his ult off.
Well, it seems like Sin take a nice team fight win, and the mid lane outer turret as well. Don't opt in for the Dragon, don't opt in for the Baron, so take the safe objective and do open up some space for themselves. 4-2 in turret still, though, up for Chiefs. Does create a little bit of pressure as far as overall room goes. Rymeister, Nash's Tooth now completed, going to go back and look towards that 3rd item. You have to think it'll be the standard Rylai's. This Chiefs going to take themselves a 3rd Dragon. Sin, they get a team fight win, but they're still struggling to contain Spooks and the rest of the Chiefs around the rift.
But the game is so close in the gold. I mean, we talk about, you know, Sin are very clearly the underdogs going into this. The Chiefs look so relaxed, but Sin came to play, and these 2 series have been very close.
You can never pick it until the advantage is a broken base, right? And right now, there's no base broken, so effectively we are even. Sin, we just saw them win a team fight, and it's entirely possible that they can continue to do so. But it's a matter of engaging, because they're against an Alistar with Windspeaker's Blessing and E maxed, and a Nidalee who's got sustain
CDR
everywhere.
boots.
Exactly. So I'm talking sustain pretty much on the entire team for Chiefs. Comes down to Sin actually picking their battles.
So again, we talked about the difference between Rogue and Egypt's Alistar, and just to quickly point at his build, he's got CDR builds, boots on the Alistar. Rusty pointed out that it is an Emax, which is typically, again, what you do with Windspeaker's Blessing. Think of like a free Locket of the Iron Solari on your E because of this mastery, because Alistar is one of the only champions of the game that has an AoE heal
Which
other
will
than
have a
Sona.
Locket with it soon as well.
Exactly. Technically, I think it gives more armor than it does MR, so it's kind of like an inverse Locket.
Seems pretty good.
Pretty
Build
good.
your own old Aegis of the Legion.
It's every stat has a gold value associated with it in League of Legends. So if a mastery can give you, 2,000 gold worth of armor every 12 seconds that you pop your E, that's massive.
Certainly is. We'll see if the Chiefs can maybe use that to their advantage in the next fight, because Sin certainly won the last one. Chiefs, though, going to keep pushing up. We'll see what they're looking to do on the map now. Looks like top lane is actually the pressure point, as there's maybe it's a turret to be taken. Chiefs did chunk out the tier 2 and top side pretty heavily in the last little exchange. You can see Tally back again. The Azir never lose aura is starting to kick in. That I can agree with.
Azir, real good champion.
It's not bad.
Shurima,
bad.
man.
Shurima. That's the best I got.
Busy clearing things out.
I hear Yamada does a really good
The
one.
Shurima thing,
Unsurprisingly,
yeah. And
I think.
Zed
Also unsurprising.
Yeah, I can see that.
Well, we have a bit of a lull in the game because there aren't really major objectives to take
Well,
that are
to be
immediately
fair.
obvious. Baron is up, the Dragon's not, and these teams are starting to play a bit more carefully. I think Chiefs losing that last fight sort of put the pedal on the brakes just a bit.
Swiper's actually put himself in a position where he'll be forced to use teleport for the first time this series.
Have I seen him use it once?
I don't know.
And I was going to say, to be fair, Sin have the bottom outer to take as well.
Yeah.
They should just send Chippies down there. But the thing is, he
Chippy's
has to
is
deal with
busy.
Zed.
Yeah, and he's busy with this Zed. Ulti's there ready for Chippies. He's going to pop back into his stun, but he actually doesn't lock down Swiffer there. Swiffer just ghost blades out. He's like, all right, I'm done. That's all the pressure he needed. Chippies gets low.
That was a flash, though, from Chippies.
Yeah, Flash to try to get the stun
For
back.
Ignite.
And they lose the tower for it. Swiffer just buying time again for his team. Sin really want that bottom outer, but it's a pretty long lane to have to push back and try and get it. All of a sudden, that standing gold feels awfully far away. And the Chiefs, 4K up now, 28 minutes into this game.
And they're such clever teams, but the Chiefs just constantly getting that slight edge and just chipping more away at Sin. These small little advantages are starting to accumulate to larger and larger gold leads. It was like a 2K game, and it's now ballooned into 4K over the past, 3 minutes. Probably closer to 5, but...
And it could go back very easily, and that's the thing. Like 28 minutes in this game, death timers getting longer. One team fight that goes in Sin's way could be more than one tower taken. Could be a Baron and turrets in one push.
Yep.
We'll have to be careful, certainly, because this is where Sin, you think, might start shining with this composition. Echo, pretty tanky, almost up to 3 items. Cardred, 2 items with a third on the way, although Red has actually finished 3, so he's crazy strong at this point in the game.
I feel like it actually comes down to like Raydier's damage output versus Rymeister's damage output, and then if Swiffer could just pop someone immediately, or if Juves is able to counteract the death mark.
Also the poking aspect of Chiefs as well. If Spooks hits anything, Zed with the shadows can poke Raider as well, using the W off minions or turrets. There's a lot of availability for the Chiefs to get things done. Sin, on the other hand, I'd wager they don't want to have a poke war unless Rymeister gets it all down and is perfectly positioned. Maybe once the Rylai's is there, they can look towards it. But until such a time, realistically, they just want to press their buttons and get in there.
But they don't necessarily have the greatest hard engage. You effectively have Death Sentence as well as some lockdown from Chippies, unless Rymeister wants to go super deep on an Emperor's Divide.
Yeah, Chippies starting to win. That's not something Swiffer really wanted here. The Chiefs are trying to press forward in mid lane. Good little dash over the wall. Gets a slow down there as well, but the Maw was actually popped there from the Zed. Had to use the Ghost Blade to get out. And all of a sudden, 3 items there for Chippies. And he's ready to fight this Zed.
Has he ascended to Tally level yet? Are we there?
We'll have to check back in, I think. I'm sure Tally himself
Tally, please confirm.
can weigh in on the matter. But map's starting to have some more monsters pop back up on it. Dragon up in a minute. Baron's still there, but great vision there for Chiefs around that objective. Keeping that on lockdown between Dragon spawns. And Chiefs actually have a real shot at snowballing that bottom side of the map.
Yeah, and I'm not going to lie, I think Sin not actually going for the Dragon after they won the fight in bottom was a big mistake. I think they should have at least denied or prolonged what is going to be the Dragon 5 buff available to Chiefs if they get number 4 in 40 seconds. Based off the control of the map, it seems highly likely.
If you guys thought 3 item Sivir was good. Let me tell you, 3-item Simba with Dragon 5 is real good. Like, real good. Those ricochets do work.
Yeah.
As Radia's even working on item number 4. Looks like Last Whisper will be his next item with that pickaxe he's got.
They're so rich after clearing out this Baron pit. That had 8 wards on it.
Value. And Sin actually, I think, trying to start a fight around here.
Rogue hit the
This is
hook.
not safe to try and check here.
Whoa.
Raider in the mid lane.
Are
They're
we
going
going?
in for a pick. They don't find anyone, though. Box used there by Rogue.
I am so lost. Swiper flash,
pushing
though.
mid.
So the hook was obviously onto him. Chiefs have an inside track, man. This is dangerous if you're Sin.
Well, you can see Chiefs actually just going straight for it. Sin have to recall pretty far back in, and the Chiefs are just going to try and take it.
Burn
Chibizo's
it,
going
burn
to
it.
TP in, but the tower's going to go down. Drew's going to get picked up, perhaps. He does pop the lamp for a spy, but he's got Trunks so low as Radiant flashes over to get himself another kill. Now Cardred's under complete threat as Spooks lands a spear onto him and wants to dive. Doesn't commit for it, but still 5v4. The Chiefs are going to break open the middle of the base.
Wow, the Chiefs, they just take everything away from Sin. Sin try and be proactive, but as you said earlier, Frosco and the engage is left wanting. Thresh not able to lock it down entirely, right,
Oh,
Master?
very good. Zonya's now Ejin caught out in the front lines, but he pops the ulti and Swiffer, he just wants it. He goes straight into the back to try and get the pick off at
My
Swiffer.
God.
He's actually going to get taken out by Cardred. Chiefs actually a little bit under threat here, perhaps, as Swiper now going to get flayed back into the team. Sin picking up fights here as they can.
Ejim's
Ejim's dead, as that's a double in for the Azir. Once again, Sin, they answer under a turret.
And that is 3 people dead for 30-odd seconds. You would think Sin can try and pressure around that Baron buff area once more, but Raider is never going to stop pressuring lanes. Spooks is always going to be a looming threat, so unfortunately, you'll say for the targets killed, could be risky.
I want to take a step back to kind of what led to all of this, because it was just, again, a very tiny misstep positionally from Sin to, like Rusty said, give Chiefs the inside track to the mid lane, but without any hesitation. Like, that's the level that we're at in the OPL now, is you cannot give a team like Chiefs
do want a
any
Baron.
room.
Okay, this is a bit risky from Sin because death timers are almost finished, but they feel like they have to do something. They're going to go in
Teleports
for the
up.
Baron. TP there for Swiper. Chippies is running his way
This
there.
is so dangerous.
And Spooks is here as well. You're absolutely right, it is. As Spooks, he's threatening.
Being burned.
Looking for a steal. Baron getting low. He does
get
land
in.
in on it. The Baron's actually dead as Rhymas is able to take it out. Now
They've got
Spooks
Spooks.
actually, he's a little too far in the front line. Sin are able to get the pick and get the Baron.
That was very clean from Sin. The Baron, the kill, everything they could want and more. As the Chiefs don't get there in time. Azir, Lucian, Kindred, they burn it quick.
Where's the teleport? The thing
There's
is,
no ward.
but we see that Swiper's coming up, so we're like, this is super dangerous. The Nautilus can get there. Yes, there was no ward directly on the Baron pit, but he still has so many options to get there. Instead, he walks off the base. Spooks is pushed out, which great job from Sin to zone him out to the side so Nidalee can't contest for it. But I feel like there was an option for Chiefs, and Swiper. TP, man.
Well,
Absolutely.
we talked about not needing it in game number 1, but maybe needed a moment there to get into it. Sin also claimed the Dragon on the back end of that fight as well. Now get the recalls and full shots in. Raiders doing what he can on the top lane, but look at that golden and ignore it for a bit, because this game is effectively reset.
Yeah,
paused.
they've denied the Dragon as well by getting that Dragon. It's no longer 4 for Chiefs. It's 1 for Sin. And 1 at 34 minutes in this game with a Baron buff is statistically phenomenal for this side. That, as you basically said it brings the game back to pretty much equal on the assumption that Sin can get a turret with this buff.
Again, it's the idea that every single stat in the game has a gold value attached to it. So if you're effectively stacking 5% AD and 5% AP, or I think it's actually 6% on 4 items, that's like 3k gold.
Sneaky Swiffer in the bottom lane there as well. Good poke actually there, but Sin, they've actually moved Chippies back to answer it. He does have the TP there as well. So now Swift actually has to back away as the Chiefs maybe find a window to try and get some damage done. Rhymaster surfs away to safety.
Swiffer's in.
But this is a flank from the Zed. Codger is so low. He's just going to get ultied up. The Lamster Spite's going to keep him alive. Rhymaster pops the Zonia's there as well, but Swiffer, he's just a little too low. And Chippies is completely into the backline trying to tie up some carries. Has to go back into the parallel convergence. Does get into it safely. But Sin, lucky not to lose someone there. The Chiefs are still hunting for something.
Yeah, wow, the Sin actually completely disengaged, but this is the power of the Chiefs once more. Sivir crits, hitting the backline, and Nidalee spears on the flank diffuses any advance that Sin attempt to make. Whilst no one dies, whilst both teams effectively reset, Chiefs diffuse a lot of that Baron buff.
That could have been really scary, though, for Sin. So like you said, great disengage. I'm actually really surprised that they got out of that alive. The Lamb's Respite was effectively burned for one person, Swiper diving. Yeah, Swiffer diving. And they just happened to scatter. I feel like Chief's actual target priority selection was the bigger issue there.
Well, blue buff here. Could go to Spooks, could go to Swiffer. Looks like Swiffer's going to move in and take it for himself. Does have a QSS now on top of his 3 damage items. So Zed going to continue being a frustrating threat. But hey!
We got it, boys.
Finding an outer turret, pretty squishy at this stage of the game. But that is good goal for themselves. Baron buff starting to wear off, though, so sort of, again, reset the game once more.
Easy money, easy life.
Well, absolutely. And it was also necessary money, so breaking the outer turrets opens the map up with minions as well, so they can push in deeper, make life a bit harder for Chiefs to deal with it. Swiper may have to attend it more often than he currently was. And look at the difference in farm between top laners right now.
Look at the difference in farm between the 80 carries.
Yeah, so this is, again, we're talking about the style of the teams where the money is being given to and how they're actually distributing. Chippies needs to deal with Swiffer, not with Swiper, so they're giving him the resources to deal with the Zed. But on the flip side, they're actually sacrificing a lot of Cardred strength.
And Lucian, he's doing just fine on damage, but Siva, 4 items now completely finished.
But he's an Infinity Edge behind. Like,
yeah.
Go pickaxe. That's a lot.
It is. And Siva does a lot of work
your
with all
damage
the crit.
output.
Yeah. Dangerous, dangerous stuff. Chiefs actually have a big advantage from that alone.
Well, Swift are going to continue the trend of split pushing with the Zed. Feels like he maybe can battle Chippies, maybe not. As Chippies comes back in. It's almost 4k health on that Echo.
Yeah, Dead Man's as well. So he's actually completely stacked armor with a Spirit Visage for the only magic resistance.
Yeah, which means the best case scenario for Swiffer here is just to draw as many resources as possible or have his team collapse to him to try to pick off Chippies.
Ooh, Spooks actually gets a turret hit there. Sin in position to wave clear out, so we'll do so. That tier 2 is looking a little fragile, but it's safe for now here for the Sin lineup. You can see Rhymaster, 4 items completed, so we talk about where power's weighted for these teams. Rhymaster is doing silly things on the Azir as far as damage goes. Yeah.
That's the scary thing. So yes, he's doing silly damage. Everyone right now is effectively, they're going to be doing silly damage. Comes down to one team fight, really. Chiefs have control of the map, though.
They still do. Not quite able to get that turret, though. Swiffer actually had quite a lot of poke there from the Lucian. Chippy's going to make his way back, get his mana refreshed, and maybe look for a home guard TP. Rhymeister busy cleaning mid lane, though. This is sort of an interesting wave clear battle. Radiant versus Rhymeister. Both want to be with their teams, but they're also the best wave clear, and Radiant wants to keep pressuring mid. As Cardred actually going to get dove in there. Lamb's Spike gets burnt. Almost was going to die to it by the looks of things. I think that turret's going to have to fall now. Big cooldowns burnt there for Sin just to save Cardred from Zed.
Yeah, to be fair, Cardred's itemization isn't going for the QSS, so Juice is always going to use the Lamb's Respite to keep Cardred alive. It's actually just the strategy that you would expect from them, as Rhymeister is a longer ranged mage with the Zhonya's Hourglass. So it's expected that Swiffer ults him. It's also expected that Juice will be with him at every single period of time in this game to keep him alive. So no big deal. The only thing is the cooldown of the Lamb's Respite in response to Zed's death mark, which level 16, really low.
And it's just also, like you said, super punishing on Cardred's itemization right now because, again, we don't have the Infinity Edge. Are you going to then itemize straight into the QSS from here? Are you going to try to complete that, trying to complete an Infinity Edge as well as the QSS or the Scimitar from 5th to 6th item is awful for slots.
Like, to me, it's entirely a battle of trust. Even Juice going for the QSS says, Swiffer, you have one option.
Yep.
Like, use that one option because that's our only way to beat you with it, is by putting down Lamb's Respite.
Well, starting to heat up again here as we're relatively late into this one. Almost 40 minutes have elapsed as the Dragon is back alive. Chiefs straight on top of the objective and Sin nowhere in sight for it. That's going to be Dragon 4. Very simple there for the Chiefs.
Which means that it's now a 6-minute window for Dragon 5.
And to fight around that Baron. Chiefs are looking back towards it. Big Kindred mark on there as well, just for a little bit of extra added incentive. You can see Sin's base is awfully vulnerable, which is the reason they have to play back so far into their own half.
One team fight.
Yep.
One choice.
One opportunity, one shot. Everything Sin ever wanted. They need to slow push bottom lane. Sin, they don't want to hard push it so that Swiper can respond. Of course, Nautilus having the teleport. Means that Chiefs can control the bottom side of the map and then work to the Baron buff much more effectively. Chippies, whilst he has teleport, is still going to be dealing with Swiffer.
And at this point, looks like item slots are starting to get really full for the team. Good news about Radier. Can't get too much stronger from this point because he's got all his items completed, but there's a terrifying Sivir.
Good news. Bad news, guys. Sivir's got 6 items. Good news. She's not getting any stronger.
Well, I mean, Dragon 5 will make her a bit stronger. Baron buff's going to help as well. Like, there are some things you can do. Could buy a Zeke's Herald, you know. Make some differences. But yeah, as a general rule, Radier, this is sort of his capping out point. The issue is that, yeah, Sivir's really strong late game. But Rai, conversely, on the other side, also nice and strong. Working on Death Cap, I have to think, as his last item. He's not there yet, but he's got the meatiest component of it there.
He's still absolutely terrifying.
Oh, yeah.
Here we go.
Swiffer vs Chippy's round 4?
I'm going to say 5.
Well, it's something over 10, let's be honest.
Well, we're going at it again at least. And looks like Chippy's is still winning. Swiffer, though, is going to threaten. Does pop the death mark now. Damage is getting a lot better, but Chippy's actually needs to win the 1v1 for his team. Damage is there for Swiffer, and he just hops away safely.
Yeah, but hopping away was still fine for Chippies as well as Swiffer. Swiffer, of course, wants to disengage. Chippies can recall Home Guard's teleport in if Sin were to engage down here. So it's still I'm going to still call it a win for Sin.
Well, I got chunked in mid lane, unfortunately. They tried to set up a turret. It was a good move to counter push mid lane. Try and get something happening with the bottom lane battle underway. But the Chiefs again, they clear it out. They chunk out Rymeister. He's the big threat. And they push the waves back and retake control of Baron. They actually got complete control of the pit with those 2 lovely looking pink wards. We even got 2 just up to above them as well for plenty of extra vision. Chiefs know what they have to play right now. And they're just going to stop Baron.
Okay. Risky
Sin.
play.
Spotted. That's a
no.
test. Oh, they passed the first test. Swiffer's here as well. Jude's going to move in for it. But Chiefs are going to look to get a knock-up happening. The Baron's actually too low. It is going to go down. Spook's able to smite it away, but Sin still want to look for a fight. Very dangerous here. And they don't quite have too much engaged. Chiefs are going to get away scot-free, I think, but Chippies.
Oh, now Chippies is actually caught out on the wrong side of the map. Chiefs will probably try and 4v5 here.
Chippies actually TPing in. They're going to try and collapse in and around them, but
ate too much
Swiper
poke.
is going to start that out. Rymeister way too low. As Swiffer just dives into the backline and looks for somebody else. He's going to go down, though. That's 1 kill.
That's 2. Ejim's dead, Swiffer died. They've got a lot of time once again, Sin. And 43 minutes in this game, you would hope that that is enough time to get something. But with the lack of control of the map, and with a Baron buffed 3 members of Chiefs, they effectively diffuse that once more.
I feel like Rymeister again saved the day for Sin. That could have been disaster, but a good or a well-placed Emperor's Divide pretty much saved their lives there.
Into staying in this.
Yeah.
By getting Chiefs champions in game number 2.
Tally the Prophet, man. He said it. The Azir never lose, starting to kick back in.
I'm telling you, it's the stabby things.
The soldiers?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty good. Do a lot of damage.
The word I was looking for was Javelin, but
It's oddly satisfying to watch Sivir press W once and
Oh,
kill
yeah.
all 6, but it's also disgusting to watch.
Yes.
'Cause it's like, how
So
can
is
you
that.
do this?
Well, Jeeves eats a big spear to the face. Deathcap actually done for Spooks.
Yeah.
So, hurting quite a lot there.
Void Staff will be next as well.
Full on carrying Italy here, perhaps.
but we were talking about the tests, so
Yep.
yes, they lost the Baron, but the next test for Sin is coming up, and it's that 1 minute, 48-second Dragon.
And this is where they have to really find a fight they like.
But they're competing against 2 open inhibs, against a Baron buff.
Swiper should run Ignite, honestly, at this stage.
Or at least, you know, like...
Have we seen a
Alacrity
teleport?
enchantment on the
I
boots,
don't
perhaps.
recall one this
He's got
series.
distortions. I think he should have the green enchant, right? He's running there anyway. Just get there faster. Buy Mobies.
See, that's
no,
why he
Captain
wore.
Boots, man.
Captain Swiper.
That's why he wore such amazing shorts today.
Ah, he's got to have that mobility. That makes sense.
No, it's just to show off his nice legs.
Oh, I see. Well, he's been working them out, let me tell you. So they'll be nice and toned after this series if we go the distance. Radier, though, fighting
Radier can
Chippies,
fight
and
him.
Radier's winning
Absolutely.
handily. Because that's going to force Chippies back. No TP, so this is a dangerous spot here. Sin going to collapse around their team, make sure they're all okay. But that's just more pressure for the Chiefs, who are now 1 minute away from that Dragon.
Oh, and forcing a Sivir ultimate doesn't actually equate to anything right now.
Such a low cooldown.
Yeah, exactly. It's like 40-second cooldown at
Yep.
best. Chiefs, they've got control of the entire map. They
Ryo trying to make a play. Flashes in for Spooks, but doesn't get the pick.
42 seconds.
Huge cooldowns burning. Now Carter and Swift are having a battle, but Swift is winning. He grabs the shutdown on the other end, and the Chiefs pulling Sin across 2 different lanes. Now going to force a fight straight into that mid lane. Rymeister has to surf off to safety, but Raiders crit juice. Rymeister almost going to go down to it as well. He has to Zhonya's because of red buff. And there's the shutdown from Spooks.
Game.
That looks to be game hit. Game way too late here. As GC is going to try and shove down the rest of the base. They grab in onto Rogue. Going to try and get a few more kills for themselves. That one's going to go over to Spooks as Chippies looks to be maybe dead as well. He's going to ulti back to try and get out. Flashes to safety towards the fountain. But the Chiefs will take the ultimate prize, the Nexus of Sin, and win game number 2.
Cool, calm, and collected Chiefs in game number 2. They don't do anything drastic. They don't need to, as they pick up the second game in this best of 5.
No, you're absolutely right. And again, I'll say it over and over. It's just these small mistakes. And against a team like the Chiefs, you can't afford to give them an inch because they take a mile.
And that's what they did all game long. A little bit of a different game here, as you can see Sin heads in hands a little bit more, starting to realize that the pressure's mounting. Being 0-2 down in the best of 5 is never a good feeling. And again, these are young players. The Cinderella story, as we keep calling it, could be coming to an end. The players can feel that. That's so much pressure, especially for the rookies.
And honestly, I'm looking at both of these teams in this best of series, and I don't see a major difference between them. I feel like it's subtly around vision and subtly around execution, but gold doesn't matter. Team fighting, Sin is still going even, if not winning. Like, it's real close.
Well, it's certainly a good fight there for Sin, but they are still 0-2 down. The Chiefs take yet another game. We're going to get a bit more breakdown from the analyst desk.
Thank you so much, Pastry Time. Another victory for the Chiefs Esports Club. That sends them up 2-0 against Sin Gaming. Want to take a look and kind of echo the sentiments out of Rusty. This seems to be a game of millimeters now, and Chiefs just that little bit quicker to every punch.
Yeah, and I have to say that I much preferred Sin's draft this time around. They looked a whole lot better. But there's just something about late-game Chiefs and their vision control, especially deep into the enemy jungle, that really looks like it's taking them to the next level. Sin need to look at that for game number 3.
I agree with Rusty. Draft was a lot better from Sin this time around, but once again, the early game was very weird from Sin, giving up 3 towers left, right, and center, trying to go 4-on-4 in lane, up in the top lane and bottom lane. Just not working for them.
Yeah, Civ got a little bit far ahead early on in that one, and Radiant was an absolute monster. 100 CS up at about the 40-minute mark. Of course, 410 CS at that mark as well. This Sivir was so massive. An Infinity Edge ahead at the end of that game. And as we were walking past, I actually heard him say, have a look at the damage graph. And I have a feeling that that Sivir spike would have been pretty high.
Yeah, I certainly think that that would have been an issue. So my question is, do you ban it? Like,
right now, don't ban the Callista. We've said it already, man.
No, we haven't said anything, Atlas. You've said it. So, you can take credit for that one. I haven't said it because I echo the sentiment, but, I'm just here to direct conversation. What are you doing? Come on, get it together. One player I want to look at in a positive light this time around, however, is Chippies. They gave him a lot of power that game, and I'm going to say that he stepped up in a pretty big way. He was able to shut down the split push, go toe-to-toe with Swiffer, and the transfer of that power to me was very interesting, but a good adaptation.
And this was a game where he was shut down very early as well. He was 0-3 at the beginning of the game, kept getting ganked, I would say, in this weird lane swap that
he kept trying to fight them.
Kept trying to fight them. Going with the Dodo Sin no fighter was not a good idea there, but unfortunately, Swiper was able to hold his own against that bottom lane. So ultimately, even though Chippies came back and was able to shut down that split pushing, was able to go toe-to-toe for some time, because Rady was so far ahead, we saw during that final team fight, just a couple of crits was enough to take him down so low.
The issue is here, Swipe is Nautilus. He doesn't care about falling behind in CS. He's going to be Nautilus the whole game irrespective. He's a man made out of CC, and you don't buy that. You just have it because you're Nautilus. So he's always able to do his job.
By the way, I am an equal being, and Swiper, your build that game, not good. Sunfire cape into Deadman's Plate, I'm going to call it bad, especially when they have pretty much all magic damage. So questionable, but, we'll give it to you. You got the win in the end for your team, but I'm just staying consistent. Each top laner, they're one apiece in my book on pretty shocking builds. But it is a champion pick for them, because I feel that if he does anything, he's got a very, his Q is different than other people's Q. I feel it is a point-and-click ability when he throws it out there, and he is just able to start so many of these team fights off the back of it.
Yeah, it's exactly right. And he just plays like a different man when he's on the Nautilus as well. Swiper is so aggressive. It's like you take a look back at Carry Swiper when he's playing Nautilus, because he's so confident, knows exactly what he's capable of, and you're exactly right. I mean, that's a magnetic hook that he has.
He's locking down Sin, and Sin's a team that really wants to fight you as much as possible, and giving Swiper this huge top lane threat that can deal a lot of damage and lock you down, not really good.
Yeah, one thing I do want to bring up, though, is Rymeister. His mid lane performance on the Azir was fantastic. He was actually controlling so many of their team
I was
fights.
going to actually look at the opposite side of the matchup. Because
yes.
what Swiffer had an interesting game.
He did.
He had a very Swiffer-esque game where, like, I'm going to say he's now become officially like Pawn of EDG.
Yeah.
Where, like, he's on the team, like, as, like, let's call him a diversion.
Mascot.
Yeah. What was he doing?
I don't know. Sort of launching himself into team fights saying, I'll distract them, guys. And he's like there for like 2 seconds and he's
We're
dead.
talking about the last team fight in the top lane. If you want to know what we're talking about, like, they get a good pick. Swiffer does some crazy stuff. But, guys, it is currently 2-0. Chiefs are up over Seed Gaming. Don't go anywhere. We're going to have game 3 around the corner.